Welcome to the first episode of the IDW podcast. I'm Ben Wickey. I'm the author of A Salem Story, and I'm speaking with Patrick Horvath, the author of Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees, and The Rite of Spring. Patrick.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I will be hosting from now on.
I feel
This
like
is my chair.
Yeah.
No,
We're gonna swap hats throughout. We'll ask each other stuff.
I think so. Now, you had quite the night. Can we talk about the night that you just had last night?
I literally just finished the last page of issue 6 of Rite of Spring. So it's been turned in and it's coming out in a little while once it goes off to lettering and then printing. But yeah, it's like a year. It was like a year.
Yeah.
To finish it all up. And it's one of those, I haven't even processed it yet. You know what I'm talking about? I can't even imagine the decompression you must have had after finishing this book.
Yeah.
Because of how long, because it took a decade to make it.
Yeah, I started writing More Way 11 years ago and started drawing it 10 years ago this year. So 2016 I started drawing.
Yeah. And it's wild to me because that's such an undertaking. The closest thing I have that would be comparable would probably be like film projects that take it's like several years by the time you're finally like from when you came up with it to when you're like it's screened and you're talking about the DVD, Blu-ray stuff or whatever.
Which is also a feeling.
Yeah. But there's definitely like this decompression that comes out of that you need to like process it.
Yeah. And disbelief too.
Yeah.
Like it's right here over my shoulder. For the listener at home, the book is over my shoulder and I still can't really believe that it exists as an artifact. You know?
Yeah. I feel like it probably loomed very large in your mind for like a long, long time.
Oh, completely.
What was the genesis for it? Because we're just talking about writing and production, but like what was the genesis for the inspiration that led to it?
I had no intention of doing a 500-page, 30-page, with endnotes and citations.
Which I would also say, like, no, all the best things that I've seen, and just for listener, if you haven't read More Weight, like, please do it. It's an incredible book. And I would say that a lot of these projects that are like, whatever it is, music, art, or comics or literature, whatever the, thing is, to me, the ones that are sort of astounding are the ones that were like the creators like, I did not intend to sit down and do this thing. Like it just became that because that's what it needed to be.
Yes.
And then you're sort of driven by when you realize the size and scope, you just have to go with it. But I'm sorry, but please continue.
No, it's very much is sort of the idea leading you by the nose down this dark Ox Road path of just where is this going to take me?
Wait, so how did it hook you when you first? Has it always loomed large just from where you grew up?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I went to school. I went to a school in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is sort of ground zero of the panic in 1692. It's where it used to be called Salem Village.
Yeah.
And so when you're going to school there, where do you go? For a field trip, you go to Salem.
Yeah.
You go to a wax museum, and I just remember standing. I was a little kid, and I was standing under this sort of weird Danny DeVito-sized wax figure of Giles Corey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that Giles Corey?
And it's still there, and it's kind of it's sort of like they're like, all right, we got to make Giles Corey. All right, let's take the head of Charles Darwin, and we'll take legs of a child, and he's got kind of like long orangutan arms. That's okay. Who cares? He's this bent up old man,
Yeah.
But I remember just like standing under this thing, going like, who are you? You know. Fascinating. And like a lot of people, Giles Corey was pressed to death in the Salem witchcraft trials. And, for a lot of people, that's really the only thing that they know about him, And I wanted to know more, and I assume like a lot of people would just jump into, like, all right, I'm going to draw Giles Corey. The first thing I'm going to do is draw him under stones. I was kicking that can down the road for so long. I was just not wanting to just go straight into the violence. Yeah. So I just wanted to get into like the research and figure out who these people were.
Yeah.
So by the time I drew Giles Corey being pressed to death, I had been drawing him for 9 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was completely different. I'd drawn his children growing up and his marriages and his whole kind of Martin Scorsese-esque life of getting away with shit.
Yes.
Long story short, no, it began as me just trying to do like a little I'll do like a little comic book adaptation of this like play from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow about Giles Corey. And then the more I tried to make that more historically accurate, the more I was like actually doing research and getting more and more obsessed.
So another thing that really struck me with your book is how well you dive into the almost like how the present is just plagued by the past. And I'm curious as to how, like, did you feel this yourself growing up? You're so in tune to it, and it feels like you grew up in such an old part of the country that it's one of the few places that has the past at like arm's length almost. Like it's very close. You can reach out and
very tangible
and touch that stuff, right? And see these markers and see where these things happen. But I was just floored by how well you layered the present, the past, and its various iterations, and how that all sort of plays together in its tapestry. And I feel like, I think maybe you've already answered it for me, but I feel like it's something that to me stands out in relief because as a culture, the past feels so elusive now, and it feels like the idea of even like a shared present reality is harder to grasp.
Yeah,
right. But
just having common ground is just an unattainable luxury, right?
Yeah. So I think there's something that's so it reminds me. It's very European sensibility.
Sure,
is kind of what it struck me as.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've just done like a really wonderful job in bringing out all of that. But it is so unique. I'm curious, like, do you still feel like, how do you see ourselves in the present now in terms of that? Like how much of the past do you still see laid across the present in what we're just our current state now?
Oh my, well, I finished the film. I finished the book. That's my go-to. That's how I'm wired. I finished the book, and then all sorts of things started happening in the news. And there's that part of you that's like, I can't go back in the book and say like, and this is also relevant.
Yeah.
All the ICE stuff happening right now. And people getting yanked out of their homes and torn from their families and stuff.
It's very familiar.
It's very scary.
Yeah, and very scary. And it's wild to me how relevant it all is.
Yeah.
With your book.
My sensibility is sort of, you just let history speak for itself, you know?
Sure.
As far as I'm concerned, it's like the Salem witchcraft trials are so relevant anyway without my tampering. And I'd seen so many pop culture depictions of it where it's like, oh, well, for budgetary reasons, like in a miniseries or film or something like that, we've got everything has to happen in the same building. Let's combine a few people. Let's change people's arcs, change things. And you just go through the actual documents and stuff, and you go like, no, this is way more crazy than anything Arthur Miller could pull out of his bum. You know what I mean?
My goodness. I mean, I feel like those were limitations to me. Like all those iterations of it before,
sure.
like with the Crucible or whatever, like we're very much, hamstrung by whatever their medium was or whatever, which is why comics are so incredible.
Yeah.
And that you can just, chip away at this block for 10 years.
Yes.
And get down. So, okay. So you started getting into this and you're like, okay, I think I have to make this thing. And you basically just began the research and then you realized like this thing is just growing as you were doing the research? Or at what point did you at what point in the journey did you realize like, I think this has to be like 500 pages?
I started writing it as a screenplay because I was at Cal Arts in film school. And I was like, I was in animation, but I was like, I'd like to do like at least write a screenplay for like something live action, have a screenplay under my belt. Mm-hmm. And then the more I was writing that, I was saying, I want to draw these people.
Yeah.
And there's so many like British actors who are now dead, who at the time I was like, ooh, Albert Finney would be great as Giles Corey. People like that.
Oh man, yeah.
And It's just this. I have this whole somewhere this list of actors of dead people, list of dead actors. And then so just over time it just became this obsession. And then halfway through, I got a email from a cousin of mine in Michigan going, "Oh, did you know that we're descended from one of the last people hanged in Salem?"
Oh,
and I had no idea.
Wow.
And so that was interesting because, I write kind of weird, absurdist. It's rare for me to do something this dark.
Yes, that was a question I had for you later, but yes.
Yeah, I don't usually do things like this. But something was just compelling me to do it.
What's wild to me, though, is that it hits hard. I think because you do breathe so much humanity into the rest of it.
Oh, thanks.
That the moments with Martha on the bed of their wedding night, stuff like that, where it's there's so much love for these characters that's obvious. That it hits real heavy when the gnarly stuff happens. And I think it's if you don't ever do another thing this dark again, that's great. No, I don't ever entreat anybody to put themselves in that. That stuff's hard. You live with this stuff and it kind of sucks.
Yes.
So the toll it takes on you, I think, is worth noting, and you kind of just go into it when you feel that you're pulled into it. But I would just say, you're very good at it. You're very good at handling dark material.
Thank you.
And the execution of it's no pun intended, but the way you do it is great.
Thank you.
So you did the screenplay. Then it just at some point you're well, the screenplay is getting too huge, or I want to draw this, but it's getting I'm realizing I need to go further. Or
I gave up, and I was I want to draw these people.
Sure,
I want to see these people.
And then in your research, it just really grew.
The research grew.
Yeah.
I started talking to historians who started going "Oh, don't read that book. Read this book." And they were all incredibly just kind and obliging, and going "No,
great.
this is really great. We need
awesome.
We need representation."
It's so thorough.
Thank you.
And how old were some of the documents you were looking at?
Oh, yeah, 17th century.
Oh, wow.
Documents.
So you were looking at transcripts.
I was handling.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a few.
Dude.
It was really,
That's incredible. So for a lot of those interrogations, those were just the transcripts?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The weird thing is that it wasn't the last, witch hunt in American history. It wasn't the first either, but it's the best documented, and it's the most devastating to the
far out.
American psyche.
That's so far out to me. And insane that it's still relevant as of today.
So relevant. And the handwriting, you look at it and it's oh, I can read this.
That's far out.
It's not that far. You can read it and go oh, this is 17th century shorthand, but I can still figure out. And I was just reading some of this stuff, just shaking, God, this was in the room.
Yeah.
And my friend Margot Burns, who's an amazing historian, they're also a linguist. So they were able to actually study handwriting and figure out, so-and-so wrote this, so so-and-so was in the room. And it changed the whole idea of what we thought we knew about. Because we have transcripts of the interrogations.
Yeah.
We don't have any from the trials. There's a record book of the trials. We know they had kept records because there was a clerk. But the record book is gone.
I feel there's also, it's as you're reading it too, you're creating that performance in your head of what that was.
Yeah.
And you're hearing those voices in your head or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a really, you feel that personal connection to everybody throughout your book. And so I'm I don't know. I can feel that. I can feel that coming through you with that stuff. That's far out, though.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Very cool.
Really appreciate that, especially coming from you. The level of humanity that you put into your work within the tree. They are animals.
Yeah.
There's so much humanity to come out of animals, which is such a feat in and of itself.
Thank you.
And also, I felt reading your work, I thought, we have so much to talk about in terms of how, this is going to be a very wholesome conversation about cartoonists who don't like violence talking about drawing horrendous things.
Well, when you go into depicting the violence, what I really appreciate the way that you do it too. It's very artistically done in the sense that doesn't feel gratuitous, but it is telling the story, and it's very heartbreaking, I think, and especially in regards to the details that you do want to show. And I mean, my stuff is definitely more graphic. It felt like, but it's still like, I don't want it to feel exploitative, and I don't, which is hard to do.
It's such a delicate tightrope and you did it masterfully.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I was reading your thing, like, how did he do that? Like, this doesn't feel exploitive. It doesn't feel.
A lot of it is like tableau, or else you're like, it's a lot of, in Beneath the Trees, that first arc was a lot of just showing. It would reveal the aftermath.
Right.
And it wouldn't get into the torturous stuff that I didn't like that part of it.
Torture, I can't do. Yeah,
I mean, and there's stuff where I feel like it is valid to the philosophy of whatever the thing is. But if you got to show it, you got to again. Like, I let the project be like, if you got, like, I mean, with Corey, what he goes through is torturous.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have that
hinge
you
point
need to have that
whole...
you need to have that threshold cross.
Yeah.
With him and the more weight. And so it's like, and you do it, and it works super well, and it's horrible. And what I love about the way that you did it is like the aftermath was not cool. Like, it was not good. Like, everybody realized like how horrible that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
people
see,
vomiting,
people,
yes. Yeah.
And then to have the sheet, and you still see the face of the sheet and the blood coming through, and it's like, it's those moments where which again is like, so it stands out because you did a really smart work with your coloring and having the different eras, but then also letting the red be involved.
Yeah.
And so I think that to me, and I feel like we sort of share this, like, you really do need to pay your dues with the impact of this stuff.
Right.
Like, because it is horrible. Like, it needs to feel bad. Yeah. Which is interesting because, like, I don't, like, I'm not, like, it's funny because when I did Beneath the Trees, initially the idea was like, oh, what if there was a serial killer that was in like a Richard Scarry town? Right. And then, and like, oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, and I always kind of thought of it would be a female serial killer, but I was like, she would be the only savvy one in the whole town. And everybody else would be so innocent and cute that it would just be like, they wouldn't even like know what to do with having that happen. And she understood that. And she was like, well, you can't like murder anybody in the town. Like, you would have to do it. It's like, but what if there was another killer in the town?
Right.
And then you had to, and she had to figure out who amongst the cute animals was the other killer. Yeah. And it would take a killer to catch a killer because none of them could even put their heads there. Yeah. Like, not like the detectives, but the sheriff is just so like, he's this dusty old basset hound.
Yeah,
and like,
I love him.
It's not going to be in anybody's wheelhouse at all, except for Samantha. And the idea that like this horrible violence, you would see the impact played out amongst these cute people that were so like, I can't even believe it. Like, it would just be so like mind breaking for them.
Right.
That I was like, yes, that. And I think I think there was something really appealing to me in that, in the sense that like there was a lot of desensitizing of violence in pop culture, and more it just feels like, to the point where you have like ad campaigns on billboards with like horrific stuff on there.
Oh yeah.
And like you're like, with children, you're like, please don't look at that. Like, I don't know how this is legal to show this thing going in an eye right now. But like, whatever that billboard is. But like, in my mind, it was like, what if you had this play out? It's like, if you did, then you would just see like that impact. Yeah, it would be really prominent. And I think that like that's like, it's like, this is horrible. And again, I don't know why I felt compelled to tell this, but it was like, what if we played this out? And it was sort of like Dexter, but I was like, let's make it not even as cool as Dexter. Because Dexter, there's a righteousness in Dexter's violence. Right. And I was like, no.
You want to get away from that. Yeah.
Like, I think that's a dangerous mindset, is to have righteous violence. And so like, this is not righteous. Like, what she does is, she's evil.
But she's also not like Hannibal Lecter, where there's like, or that show Hannibal, where the the corpses are. She's not an exhibitionist. She's not displaying.
No. Yeah.
That's
I would argue like the Nigel character is like way more.
Nigel does, yeah. But for her, it's like this inner thing just for her.
Very much.
It's like a hobby. It's like,
Yeah, it's like her art or whatever. Like it's her thing that's like completes her.
In some sense, it's
she thinks
one kind of violence looking at his work, his kind of exhibitionist violence going, that's not right.
Right, yeah.
But
it's like chaotic evil and lawful evil or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, duking it out.
So depicting the violence very much felt like it's still something I wrestle with.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should be. I remember, like, I always had this thing in my mind of like Sam Peckinpah talking about the Wild Bunch.
Yeah.
And he was like, I sort of said everything I needed to say about violence with like the Wild Bunch. And then from what I understand, he was kind of put off by how some people were like, oh, it's awesome. Like, it looks great. Like, what happens or whatever. And he was like, well, that's not, I think I messed up. Like when I did like that final battle, and it's this crazy like apocalyptic slow motion shoot 'em up.
Yeah,
that's just like, I mean, it's incredible to watch, but like it's also like from what I understand, his intention was that it was not to be glorified, but it was received sort of the opposite way by a lot of the audience, and I think his reaction to that was to do Straw Dogs, which was like. It's quite good and it's very hard to watch.
Yes.
And I think he did do it correctly with Straw Dogs.
Right.
Like Straw Dogs very much feels like there is nothing cool about this. Like the violence is sort of like the climax is getting instigated by a misconception about like who's in the right and whatever. Like there's nothing righteous about it at all. Like it's very problematic. And and I felt like it was... in my mind, like I'm always kind of going towards that if I can. Like it shouldn't be good,
and it comes through though. I want to say that
I appreciate hearing that
because that's the thing. You and I like we're both filmmakers who became cartoonists, and it's just we both do our own writing and our own art, and we're both sort of sitting in our own little worlds doing what we're doing and hoping that it will communicate and come out. And that we won't be misunderstood. Or that, and it's so gratifying to like send it out and people go. Like,
oh yeah. It's overwhelming in the best way.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like I didn't anticipate like any of the reaction that it got really.
There's no way to anticipate it. No,
it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like you can't go into this being like, no, this will be like, everybody's going to think this about it and it'll be great, whatever. It's a lot of it was, I remember getting halfway through like the first arc and being like, I think they like the hook, because the hook is for Beneath the Trees is pretty, it's pretty easy to grab on.
Sure.
And you get a lot of people just walking by at like cons and stuff, and I pitch it at cons to anybody walking by the table, and they're like, oh, I think I would like that. And then what I don't say is like, it gets into weird stuff with like grief and like, it gets into like existential like turmoil and like, but I don't say any of that stuff.
No.
But that's where it went. But when I was getting into that stuff, in my mind, I was like, they're going to check, like the audience is going to check out. Like, I like this. I don't think I'm ever going to get a chance to make a book like this again.
Right.
So I'm just going to put it in there for me so that I can
at the end of the day, you got to do it for yourself.
You do. It was I noticed this whole process had become it was a reinforcement for that.
Yes.
For like being like, oh, so whatever the weird thing, as soon as I start thinking about who's reading it, I can't function.
Right.
But like once I go like, well, what would I want to read in the story? Like where would I want to see this stuff go? That's where and then to have that very well received by folks for the most part, like is incredible to me.
Yeah.
I like honestly feel like I lucked into a weird thing and I'm like, I get to I caught a wave and I'm like, I'll just ride this wave like as long as I can. Like, I don't know how long. At some point, people aren't going to be into what I make. That's fine, but like, let's just keep writing.
Oh, please keep going.
Yeah, let's just keep doing it as long as I can.
No, it was the same. It was the same thing for me too, because I had so many moments of you work on a thing for a decade. You're going to have lots of pitfalls of like discouragement.
Yes.
And
like what is like year 7 of the project?
Oh my God! Right, exactly. No, I can't even remember year 7.
Because I mean, how old were you? If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you started?
20.
Okay, cool. And so, like, you know, you're still in school. You're still at Cal Arts when you started it, and then you get out of Cal Arts, and then you start life in the world.
I start life,
and you still have this project that you're now several years into.
Yeah, I get married. You
know,
like
you got married. Yes,
life. You know, my life. You know, and it took my dear friend Bill, who's a photographer. We were having one of our little art chats, and he was like, "So you've been working on this a third of your life?" And it never occurred to me until he said that.
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh, God damn it, you're right."
Wow,
that is true. Because I just turned 30 last year, and
you've been here though. You've been in LA the whole time.
I've been in LA I moved out. So what happened was I moved out in 2020.
Oh, okay.
Because I got a job on the film Marcel the Shell. It's a stop motion film.
Yes, I'm familiar. It's awesome. Yes.
So I was one of the animators. I worked on that.
Very cool.
And I came out in February of 2020. I moved in with my then partner, now wife. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, great! This gives me an opportunity to just kind of just put my head down and you know, like try to like finish the first half of More Way.
Okay.
You know, to send it off to people. And so it's been a wild ride. And but as I was saying, there's points of discouragement too, where you go like, is there anybody who really wants to read a 500-page book about the Salem witch trials in which there are no witches? You know, in which it's about, you know, greed and, you know, social cleansing and, you know, human pettiness rather than the supernatural.
Human pettiness, and also like this architecture of like law and religion and all this stuff that had sort of, you know, gives it its foothold. And I think that it's like, but I think that we're still dealing with that now. Yeah. And I feel like it's super prescient. So it's like, it's one of those evergreen things that like, I mean, just the note, like it's in the parlance of our time still to say like, it's a witch hunt. Right. And so it's very much like, you know, this thing that's always bubbling up. But it's wild to me, though, to have these different evolutions of yourself through a project that goes so long, because there is a ton of like, second and third guessing and whatever that you're going through it. Did you have an editor on this?
I did, but I had listened to it.
When did you wait? So when did this project come along with Top Shelf?
That's 2022.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from 2016 to 2022, I was flying blind on my own. Completely, like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you just walked out. Yeah, you took a leap of faith off the cliff.
Pretty much.
You were hoping there was going to be something to catch you, which is how like any. I mean, like I've done that many times on pretty much any film project I've made. Was like, I think this is gonna. We just have to start making it. Like, I think it's gonna happen. I don't know.
That's the thing. You won't know it until you start.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like the Ray Bradbury. You know, you fall, you jump off a cliff and you build your wings on the way down.
You really do.
You know?
Yeah. Or I've also like building the airplane as you're going down the runway. Yep. Like, it's like you kind of just have to start doing it and hope it takes flight. Yeah. Okay, so we're filmmakers. How do you approach putting together a comic? And by that, I specifically mean like, in my mind, I'm curious if you have any similarities to this or not, but in my mind, when I start putting it together, we're doing layouts sort of like from like a camera perspective, even though there's a magic that happens with comics that is very much wholly a comics thing. Yeah. It's not a movie. These aren't storyboards. Like it's a comic. Right. But I find myself like I'll do some framing and stuff, like the blocking will be probably from a mindset of like having, like I think of them as actors and characters in a space. Yes. And then I also think about how do I tell that story? It's interesting too that you come from an animation background as well, because I feel like there's a very in tune notion of storytelling visually that's maybe not even like as focused on with a lot of live action stuff. Right. And a lot of people are just sort of there's a lot to be concerned about when you're doing live action filming. And animation, you have an opportunity to be like super precise about how you're storytelling. You can build your story within the frame of, or like, let's say you have a panel with characters and you're also like placing stuff in the background that's very relevant and is leading to the next beat, maybe not immediately, but will be later. Stuff like that, that you can get really precise with. And I think animation does a super, like Andrew Bird had written, you've read the Simpsons storyboarding Bible that he created?
No, I haven't.
So it's floating around. There's a PDF of it. Like I highly recommend anybody check this thing out. It's great. If you want to know about visual storytelling. And he was like kind of like a hard dude to work for.
Sure.
But he, and maybe he's really nice. I don't know. Yeah. But he's really good. He was really good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he created for the storyboard artist for The Simpsons in like the early 90s, whatever. He was like, this is good and this is bad. And he just has this like little PDF that you can find online that's like, this is a good way to tell a beat. This is a bad way to tell a beat. This is a good framing for this. This is a bad framing for this. Like he just kind of, he goes through it and you can see, you can see the, how the efficacy of his choices and why they're working.
Right.
And I think that type of panel creation just works really well in comics. And so I find myself like kind of as a cinematographer in that sense. And then I also wear the hat of like an actor in my performances. And your performances are awesome in More Weight. They're very well done.
Oh, thank you. I'm just
I
like
love
I was a drama kid in high school. So
yes, you can tell.
I'm a ham.
And you also, I love that you give them time in these panels to have that. You have a ton of atmosphere in this, which you have the.
Oh, thank you.
You have the space for it. And I can see where, like, in other hands, you would have cut through stuff, but it would have taken away. Like, it's so awesome to have that atmosphere in there. And it allows for that performance to breathe.
Right.
And for the scenes and, like, establishings to breathe in a way that I feel like are normally, like, kind of glossed over because you don't. I mean, like, when I'm limited to a page count on monthlies. And so
there's more of an economy of space that
I would love to have more stuff that it could specifically in those regards. And in filmmaking, that's the stuff your AD or your assistant director is telling you, like, we got to move. Like, we don't have time for these setups. You're like, but these setups are like telling the story.
Right.
Even though I know there's no actor in the thing, or we're just kind of like, it's this moment that could be a throwaway moment. To you, like to me, this is like the interior life that we need to see.
Yeah.
And so I have the actor hat on my head. I'm also wearing like the editor hat. I'm also wearing the wardrobe. I'm doing wardrobe design, props.
Yeah.
Like production design for the environments.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So are you in a similar sense
Absolutely.
to that? Absolutely.
And researcher, because I have to research every aspect of 17th century life. What kind of forks did they use?
You take the cake for like the amount of research for this book. Like, it is nuts how much research you must have done for this.
It was fun.
Sure.
I like that kind of stuff.
And you can tell. Yeah, you can tell you're enjoying this.
Yeah. I think because I sent the first half of More Weight during COVID. I sent it to Alan Moore, who had been writing a little bit back and forth. And for a long time, I was wondering, like, why did he give me the job on the Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic, where I did like 50 biographies of famous magicians from like Neolithic times to the present day. And I was like, oh, it's because he knows that I'm a sadomasochist and I like researching different times and torturing myself with research and that kind of stuff. Because that I do. The cops are.
Yeah, the cops.
I'm going to be leaving you soon. My time among you is short.
That is far out, the Alan Moore connection. And just to have his quote on the book is insane. It's an incredible quote to have.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
He gets a bad rap.
Oh, I mean, I love him.
Yeah.
Specifically, like, more and more I'm drawn to his interviews.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's such an eloquent speaker. And he has, like, such a, I don't know, there's something about listening to him or reading his words that is so, it unlocks a certain thing that's like, it feels like it's, in its eloquence, it's getting to sort of a truth in a way of whatever he's talking about that is often, like, not quite what's the past name? Dived into? Dove into?
Doven?
Doven? But that he gets to the heart of things in a really particular way that I find just sort of entrancing even. But to have him, in that book, I thought it was so cool, man. And glad to hear that he's a sweetheart.
I was going to talk about, we both have these, we've both created or designed communities in which, a hinge point cataclysmic event happens, which affects everybody. Mm-hmm. And I am so intrigued by Woodbrook, which just my first, reading of Beneath the Trees, before it was confirmed that it was Vermont, I just said, that must be Vermont. Because you got it right.
I'm so glad to hear that.
You got Vermont so right.
I looked at a lot of Montpelier, I think, Vermont.
Yeah.
It's not Pellier. I think it's Pellier, according to...
Montpelier. I think it is.
Yeah, according to folks, I think it is because but I don't know if anybody has ever seen any photos of it. It's a very picturesque, almost postcardy, small Vermont town that has like this ridiculous main street.
Yep. Red pickup trucks.
Tilly Walden had confirmed, I think, that it's like a very cute little spot that is, it's got that small town vibe that you would imagine if you just sort of like generically think like, northeastern town. And there was a photo I'd seen of like, it has like the church and like some of the building tops that are poking through these trees. And I'm like, that's it. That's perfect. And so I used all that for a lot of the reference. And I would like Google Street Maps, like Montpelier, and like look around.
Have you ever seen the Orson Welles film, The Stranger?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It's got Edward G. Robinson. It's basically, Orson Welles directed it. It was basically, he did Citizen Kane, and he's like, all right, this is my chance to like prove to the studios that I can actually do like your basic thriller, but it's like really good. And he plays a neo-Nazi who's hiding out in this small like Connecticut, New England town.
No, I haven't seen The Stranger.
Your work gave me like not in a bad way, but it was like, oh, this is like The Stranger, where it's like it's this, it's like this this kind of very innocent, unassuming, really quaint small town, just kind of just stuck in the mud of time. And they have no idea what's under the surface.
It's interesting because it became, it just sort of evolved out of that initial, like, I need to have a really quaint little like Gilmore Girls-esque spot for this thing to take place. And it needs to feel like a Richard Scarry busy town, but like a little different, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I found Montpelier, and then I ended up doing this idea where I was like, oh, this is like in the 80s. I didn't realize that until I was like getting into it. And then Nathan Wittick, who does the design, had done the newspaper stuff. He designed all the newspaper stuff that shows up with the credits, or like their interstitials now in the graphic novel. But like if you read it in singles, that's where the credit page is. And then it's he came up with that on his own. But he had the date on it, and it was in the like 1900s. Like, oh yeah, this is like 19. Is this 80 something?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is the 80s. And I was like, and that's where the whole thing, like, this is like issue 3 of like the first run,
right?
And so I didn't even realize until then that. I was like, well, I don't have anybody that has a cell phone, because like Busytown didn't have cell phones, and so like, and then I just didn't even know as I was making. I just didn't even know. Like, I was just like, I kind of had to just start making it. And so I kind of just went with my gut for a lot of that stuff. And getting into it, by like issue 3, I was like, okay, yeah, this is like 1986.
Yeah. You can find.
And so then, and there was a moment where like we dialed in the actual, like, we have to figure out these dates. Because there was at one point where it was like, there was a cover somebody had done for the Ash Can that we did in 2024. And it was like, you see Samantha's passport, and it was like, you need to.
She's born in like 1941 or something.
So like we just have to own these numbers now.
Yeah, right.
So like,
this is canon.
Okay, yeah. And so then also around that time, I came up with the idea for the book for Rite of Spring out of issue 3 because of the funeral that happened with Martin the goat, and then you end up getting into this like. I was like, it's this monologue of Samantha being like, I understand intellectually that people are upset and they have this emotion, but like, I have no idea what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to her. And then I was like, oh, what if I get a chance to do a follow-up, it'd be really interesting to basically have the sister of the duck who we saw in the first issue, like, but we need to see this, like,
just so
I
great
really wanted it to be years later.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see how much that would warp a person to have that missing loved one who's essentially dead in absentia.
Yeah.
And that seemed even worse to me. And Samantha notes this in that issue 3. It's like,
yeah,
she sort of understands what she does is arguably worse because nobody gets that closure.
Right.
And I was like, yes, what if we saw what that horrible
And that's what I was going to, because Rite of Spring is so great because you've embraced that it's the 80s. And now you're getting into the social politics
of like the 90s and
of the late 80s, early 90s, like everything going on in Samantha's world getting smaller and smaller because of how, it's great. It's social commentary that's so subliminal. Well, it's not in your face.
No,
but you really hit it home.
It was one of those things where I was like, well, if we're gonna get into it, like, and again, this totally just mirrors my own like upbringing in that I'm a child from the 80s, and then when I got to be, a teen, I was in the 90s, and I was becoming slightly more aware of the world outside of the small city, big town that I grew up in Iowa. And so I was very much like, okay, well, the 90s, like, we got the internet and the world started to open up more. And then if I was an adult in the 90s, I'd probably know that like a lot of the jobs were leaving factories in the States, going overseas because of globalization. And we were losing a lot of these blue collar jobs that had initially given a bunch of like, blue collar people a middle class life and the opportunity to send their children off to college. And then like there was just all these threads that were like, oh yeah, like we need to kind of pull this stuff in and we need to just sort of talk about it because it's part of the milieu of like what this is. We don't need to hit you over the head with it.
Yeah.
But like it was, what if she found this message board that had, these people discussing these cold cases? Of course they existed.
Yeah.
And then what if she like was so tickled with the idea that she had a connection that had been like growing for 8 years with this stranger. And it's probably the closest she's felt to anybody, like was through what she did. So I was like, oh man, like what if this was like the idea? So that's kind of how it all came about. It felt like it was necessary to have those elements. And you talk about the past still being present. Like I see especially like from like the election in 1980, we're still dealing with like the election in the States from 1980s, what it feels like to me in terms of like the modern sense of politics. And so like, and so it just felt like that all needed to be part of it. Like we have to have all this stuff.
No, I know. What animal is Ronald Reagan?
I have a bigger one for me. Like, who is Jesus? Like, what animal is Jesus?
Presumably.
Because there is a church and there is like...
Well, if you can have someone like the crucifix.
Yeah. I haven't shown a crucifix yet because of that, because I don't know what it is yet.
Is it a dove?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it a Jesus fish? And its little flippers can't really span the cross.
I had heard, who was it? Comic Book Yeti suggested it has to be a duck-billed platypus. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Oh.
He's like, no question.
For Reagan, I would say either a turkey, because he's got that kind of scrotal,
Oh, yes. He has a good waddle.
Jowls,
like a waddle.
I remember Mad Magazine at the time did a spoof on Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, and it was the Reagan, and it was not of him as a bird, but he had his big red nose was kind of more beak-like, and his greasy pompadour was kind of raven-winged looking a little bit. I was like, oh, Patrick could do something with that.
I feel like we could. There's definitely a Reagan. There's this book called Reaganland, which I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yes. From
I don't know the author's name.
It's a great author though. I've heard interviews with him,
and it's a terrific book, and sort of how we're all sort of living through what that set the table with.
Because he wrote Nixonland too, right?
Yeah. But I digress. Like I feel like it's to me in the world building, I can't turn that off. Like it needs to be there.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's what I'm also sort of really diving into, along with the characters. But it's wrapped up in the environment and the history of like where they're at in that moment.
Yeah.
And what led to that. And in my mind, I know where it's going. And so I'm probably playing with that, for dramatic effect as much as possible. But it's, I wouldn't say I have an agenda necessarily.
No.
But that it's, to me, I'm fascinated by a doomed story.
Mm-hmm.
And this very much feels like, and again, that's like, I mean, with more weight, like, give me a break. Like, that's
the material
like one of the
just
most
presents
doomed,
itself.
I
know.
That's one of the most doomed stories ever.
Right, because I didn't set out to do more weight to go, I'm going to prove, I didn't have any opinions about,
But it was like a fascination with it.
Yeah, like fascinations with the catalysts and the consequences.
Yeah.
And then researching both, I just got mad.
Yes.
Just more and more infuriated.
Of course, yeah.
With human nature and the world and, so I don't know. I don't think it's quite a polemic, but.
No.
Okay, thanks. Someone said it was a polemic and I was like, really? I didn't mean it to be, but.
No. I don't see it as that.
I'm a descendant of one of these people. Like I should be pissed.
Well, but I mean, you feel that through Hawthorne too.
Yes,
and
of course.
Think that, and it was that. I didn't know about your connection. So was that was that a really strong? I mean, obviously,
it totally
you felt
changed
a lot of parallels with that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did. It changed not my opinion. It changed my convictions. It felt a bit more personal.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now we're talking about my family.
Yes.
And also too, it's like I found out about this, and I was in the car with my uncle, and we're driving, and he goes, so I said, like, oh, so Cousin Holly out in Michigan was like telling me that we're descended from. I was like, isn't that interesting? And he's like, he lived in Salem at the time, and he was like, but weren't they witches? And I go, well, no, they famously not. Like they weren't. He's like, well, I don't know. I don't really want to be associated with that. Like he immediately like turned off. Like, I don't know if I want you're doing something about the witch trials. Yeah, I am. I don't know if I want like our name associated with that. I don't want my friends to know that we're. So it was immediately this kind of disowning.
Oh, wow.
Of, not to throw him under the bus. Sorry, Pete. But it's, so in a way too, because it's like, I'm not alone. There's lots of there's millions of descendants of these people, 19 men and women hanged, 1 man pressed to death, and 5 people dying in prison, including a newborn baby. I mean, there's so many descendants walking around who either don't know who their ancestors were or know, and they're kind of like, I don't want to think about, maybe they had green skin,
Right.
And there's no portraits of these people. So I kind of wanted to do, my own, really design, this goes back to animation and everything, like designing characters.
Yeah.
And that from, design, choosing animals for each character and things like that. Of like, all right, I'm going to really design each person so that descendants can go, oh, that's my, oh, you were in the room? Okay. And so, making a case for all of these people, because it's not, I have no idea what Giles Corey looked like. He probably did not look like that. But for Giles Corey's descendants, it's a duck decoy, if not the real thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to scrounge around cemeteries with your EVP recorder trying to, contact his ghost. I mean, it's like, read the book,
Yeah.
He's there, and they speak what they spoke in the room,
Yeah.
They speak for themselves.
When you got to getting into the other, just the character work itself, where did you pull that from? Like when you're doing like Martha talking about with Martha and Corey and their wedding bed at night.
Yeah.
Like where did you pull that from?
It just, I pulled that sort of stuff just from research, but also just imagining.
Oh, right on.
Just imagining, because there's so much that was said, behind closed doors that I can't prove. But these people were so real to me. The more because I drew everything out of sequence. So by the time I drew that scene, I had already drawn, her interrogation and being grilled by these magistrates and stuff. And you just get to know people more and more.
Of
you
course,
go like, what on earth was... The thing that I'm really proud of with the book is that I proved once and for all that she had a mixed-race son.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's barely mentioned in a lot of books.
Oh, wow.
And I found a document of when Benoni, her son, was in his 20s. This was long after she had been executed. Like, it's an official statement from him going like, no, I'm her son.
Wow.
And so that was really moving to find, especially after like drawing the Coreys living together with him and like, what was that family dynamic like?
Yes.
Your mind just, your imagination just, roams the Milky Way of just figuring out different ways that they would have, and also the fact that he didn't come up at all in her interrogation or any of the accusations of witchcraft against her, which would have been low-hanging fruit. I mean, indigenous people were thought at the time in 17th century New England, my God, they were thought of as servants of Satan. Not once did he show up, which also meant that even when Giles Corey was testifying against her, or in a deposition against her, he didn't mention him either. Mm-hmm. So he was keeping a secret. So that gave me insight into their relationship.
Oh, it's such a wild wild story, man.
Yeah.
But you do it it's like so well. Like these moments that you do give them throughout really soar in terms of just given that humanity of these characters. Like it does a really, really terrific job with it.
One of the things that that really just struck me in the first which issue was it of Beneath the Trees? It was the cover with the
issue 2.
The butcher, what I'm talking about, the butcher window.
Yeah, with the cherry gherkins in front of the butcher window.
Cherry fucking gherkins in front of the butcher's window. And I know that you had been struck as a kid of the world of Richard Scarry.
Yeah.
Of there is a pig who's also a butcher.
Yeah,
and he's, happily got, a roll of sausages in his window. And that was also to me going like, what?
It's so messed up in regards to, obviously it felt like a tongue-in-cheek thing to do on his regard. But like, I think it maybe went over the head of like a lot of the children that are reading that book. Mm-hmm. Because there's animals and there's animal people in those Richard Scarry books.
Right.
And so I was very much, and I saw that pig cover it's on the cover, I think, What Do People Do All Day?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
And there's a butcher who's a pig.
Yeah.
And there's sausages. And you're like, wow, how does that even work?
Yeah.
Like, we have to have this. Like this needs to be in the Woodbrook, right? And so I very much wanted to have a character which became Melody, who is a butcher. And like cats are pretty much carnivorous. So I was like, yes, awesome. So the cat will be a butcher. And it was my editor, Maggie, who had the idea for that. Like, let's have the cover be Cherry in front of the butcher shop. And I was like, yes. And it was one of those things where I'm like, it gets into that sort of underlying existential quandary that is going on throughout the book.
Yeah.
Especially in that first arc. And I wanted to, a lot of it comes through the regular animals. Like I was like, as soon as I had that idea about the butcher, I was like, oh, we should have like the real animals are the ones that actually see what Samantha does in the woods.
Exactly.
And like, they're the ones that are witness, like nature's witness to the truth.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, like that makes all the sense in the world, even though it seems really weird. And a lot of people are like, how does that work biologically? I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like ask Richard Scarry. I don't know how that works.
No, I know. Because I grew up with like the wind in the willows.
Yes.
And anthropomorphic animals. Yeah, and there's always that.
And frog and toad.
Yeah. There's always that question of like, okay, these are animals. They're dressed in clothes.
Yeah, right, yeah.
What is the internal logic of this particular thing?
Yes.
As regards to other things of like, do humans exist?
Right, yeah.
What is do other, okay, now there's an animal that's unclothed. Is he a nudist?
Right.
What is going on? Like Beatrix Potter, where it's like Peter Rabbit has wandered into the garden. He's got a little coat on, and now there's a cat who does not speak.
Just an animal cat.
He's just an animal.
How does this work?
So is he a nudist? Like what? Like,
do they use the bathroom? Do they just like defecate where they stand? Like what is going on?
Right.
Like all that stuff was very much like it was fun to play with, and again, all these different stories have their own internal logic of how it works.
Right.
And it was fine. And so then it just turns into like, well, how do we want to use it? And in this book. It was that like, this is the way to explore that stuff.
Which is what I really, really found refreshing about your work, and what I really found, which is so great, because a lot of people do, when they do anthropomorphic animals, they kind of like run away from those kind of questions. Like,
I'm like constantly.
You lean into it.
I'm like always wondering about,
which
like,
I love.
Like in my, like, I mean, it's not to get like weird about it, but like in Rite of Spring, like there's a part where we just see Monica like using the toilet.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it's not, I don't want to get like weird about it or kinky or anything. It's just like she had to use the toilet. Yeah. Like it's a moment that everybody has every day, and I never see it.
She
like,
happens to be a
how
duck.
do like superheroes use the toilet? Like that's like, like I'm constant, like everybody's got, like if I had some coffee, I'm going to have to go pee or something pretty soon. Like we're going to have to like talk about this.
She has humanoid legs.
Like I have the same thing with aliens. Like when you have aliens in movies and they're like, don't have clothes or something. And you're like, so they traveled across the whole universe without clothes on? Like they went to like a new planet with no clothes. Do they poop when they walk? Like
yeah.
Like do they use a bathroom? Like what is even going on?
Right.
Like what are we talking about here? Like it's so anyway. So I'm always like, any chance I get to show that stuff, like I will. And I feel like it's necessary because it's a shared experience of like of what we do every day. And so and the thing with Cherry in the butcher window was like, it was getting at that, and it was getting also at the kind of like how bizarre it is that we have a culture where we just like kill these animals and eat them all the time. And it's like, that's just normal.
Right.
In the sense of like, we like a lot of this stuff we didn't kill, but we're eating it. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was just so like, yes, I love Maggie's idea, because it was it's a very much an on the nose confrontation of it that I feel like was necessary for that, setting the tone for it. Right.
Yeah.
And just in general, like, you know, where does my meat come from? Like I eat fish, but I feel like it's, but I don't eat, I eat fish because I can kill fish and eat it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of how I feel about it. If I were to see a cow and pet it on its head, I couldn't
oh
kill
my God.
So I can't do that with pigs. I can't even like chickens. I can't kill chickens anymore. The like I used to. I never did anyway. But but it's the notion of eating that stuff. It's just a mindfulness, I think. And if anybody does, that's great. That's fine. No judgment whatsoever. But I like fish, but I don't like crustaceans because I think their claws are really cool. Mm-hmm. And it seems so brutal in the eating of them, and the tearing apart of legs and stuff, and if you enjoy that, that's fine. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't do that or anything, but that's where it came from. Like that's where that whole sort of notion came from for me.
Yeah, I understand that, because I'm from a fishing town, like a little fishing village in Cape Ann in Massachusetts, and you know, there's lobster traps. I grew up next to a wharf.
Oh,
so
right
there's
on.
All the fishing boats, all lobster traps and things like that, and it was, and so I don't eat lobster. I don't eat fish. You know, the smell reminds me of home, and I've just never, back in the day, like I used to, when I could like saved up money, because lobster is expensive, but my mom and I used to like go buy lobsters from the supermarket and set them free. And we'd go out to the rocks. And we'd cut the elastic band on the claws, and we just see the claw like flex as if the lobster was
free.
Like, oh, that feels good.
Yes.
You know, and it's so satisfying. I brought my friend David Frankham, who is turning 100 next month.
Oh, far out.
He was in a bunch of like Vincent Price films, the original Star Trek. He was in 101 Dalmatians. He plays the cat that saves the puppies. He did voice work for me for a film, The House of the Seven Gables, that I did. A stop motion animated version of it that's on YouTube. But anyway, he came out to. We had a premiere of that film at the House of the Seven Gables. So he was in my neck of the woods, and he was like, "Oh Ben, you were telling me that you love to." He's from Britain. "Oh, Ben, you're telling me that you love to set free lobster. I would love to do that with you." So we did it, and he was crying, and it was really, really special.
I want to set some lobsters free.
It's a trip. It's really, I recommend it, you know. Yeah. So we got big ones too.
Oh, yeah. As you should.
Yeah. No, because you were talking about Cherry fucking gherkins. And it reminded me, because I grew up watching The Muppet Show, and there was always moments where like George Burns or Bob Hope or somebody would be like doing a duet with Miss Piggy, and then they would do a joke about ham hocks or sausages, and she would just go like, "What was that?" You know, like mildly offended, and it's like, you should be like way more offended. Like, what is your stance?
Talking about eating you.
They're talking about like a whole genocide of your kind that's going to go on for thousands of years. Like, so that's always kind of like the fun. And I worked on some Disney shorts recently, like stop motion Mickey Mouse shorts. And I felt like every time we worked on these shorts, me and the AD were just standing by these little stop motion puppets going, all right, so Goofy's a dog, but Pluto's a dog. So what's going on?
Like, what is their relationship?
What is their relationship?
It's interesting to me, too, because the connection between the animals would be so much closer, it felt like, with the folks in Woodbrook or just this world.
Because there's pets
exactly,
in your
world.
Exactly. You know?
And so, and the, Birdie the turtle has a dog,
the little doggy.
Yeah. And that's our dog.
Is it really?
Yeah, she passed like right when I was making that.
Oh,
and so like I kind of wanted to put her in regardless, because I kind of put her in everything. But I'm
like that.
But I very much was like, she can live on in like the book, and like and I'll give her to Birdie. Birdie's like one of my favorites, so I was like, they can have this this relationship together. But there's like a heightened regard to her, probably because it's our dog, but but also because it was like connection between animals. Yeah. And there was, and you're always wondering, like, I'm always sort of considering how much of their animal nature is in their character. Like, what do you bring to, like, I'm trying to remember where you're at. You haven't seen this yet. We're talking about Rite of Spring.
Yeah.
But so basically, I don't want to spoil anything. But but there's this always like, what is it about them and their animal selves that it's either going to be contrary or complementary to whatever is kind of going on with their character and who they are. And so it's just another element to it all. But it I think begs the, sort of examination of the reader to be like, what is my relationship to animals? What is my relationship to meat and whatever, like all that stuff.
Knowing that I, as a human, am also an animal too.
Exactly.
I mean, the scene in Rite of Spring where the bear lumbers into the town.
Right. Yeah. And it's very, it was very, and I really leaned on that bear in that first book.
Yeah, you did.
In a good way. I was glad to do it.
A great way.
And then you kind of had to, like,
that was surprising.
We're not going to like retread it. Like, we kind of have to have an evolution of it. And so that's why that all happened with the bear.
It makes sense with Samantha.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It sounds like the kind of thing like Werner Herzog would appreciate, like he'd be reading it and he gets to the scene with Samantha in the woods with the bear and he's like, yes, this is exactly what I thought this was going to go. The bear, the true nature of the bear. Anyway, that's it for my impersonations tonight.
That was good. That wasn't bad. I was curious. I mean, I'm curious about like what you've got going on next.
Likewise, because you said you're working on something new.
I am.
How much can you say?
I can say a little bit.
Okay.
But I was curious. So I mean, we spoke about this before recording, but so you lived with this book for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're sort of now you're doing the rounds and we're talking about it. It's out in the world. You're still sort of like, I can't believe it exists, but you're more and more open to the idea that yes, it does exist and it's right here on the shelf by us.
Yeah.
And are you ready yet for a new project? Have you already started a new project?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I have. Coming from Top Shelf.
Oh, yes,
from
excellent.
IDW. Yep. So I'm writing it and researching it now,
awesome.
But it's going to be fiction.
Fun.
So I'm having fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's like the foreword to Slaughterhouse-Five when Kurt Vonnegut is like, this was traumatic to do. The next book I'm going to do is going to be fun. And it was like Breakfast of Champions.
Yes.
So it's sort of in the horror genre. I pitched it to Chris
It is in the horror genre.
It is in the horror genre.
Why? I love that it is, but what brought you back to it?
Well, it's not bloody. It's more Lynchian.
Sure.
Horror, psychological. Yeah.
Which is like arguably more upsetting.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. No, it was. I pitched it to Chris Starrs at Top Shelf. Is like, yeah, it's a cross between Antiques Roadshow and Nosferatu.
Yes,
and he's like,
cool.
All right.
Yes, awesome. Excellent.
So I'm still researching it, but cool. it's historical. So it's a point in New England history that has always fascinated me. But it means that I get to like look up other kinds of. It's more 19th century, so I get to look up other glossolalia, like other words and phrases. I've been going through like political cartoons from the 1830s and 40s where it's like people have animal bodies and stuff. And I've just been like writing down great phrases and words that I find in there, like colloquialisms of, it's like Martin Van Buren has just won the presidency in 1837 and Andrew Jackson is shaking his hand. And instead of just saying like, congratulations, my worthy successor. He's going, by the eternal, give us a shake of your daddle, my worthy. And it's like, who the fuck? What? Oh, this is great. I write this down. So it's great. It's really fun to be away from 17th century Old English and to,
Let's get into that 19th
Let's
century
get into
stuff.
the 19th. Let's move on.
Let's move on. That sounds
it's
lovely.
Like, this is not going to be ambitious. And I'm like, it takes place over the span of 60 years. All right. So a lot more research. Hats change over time. Yeah, all right. I'm digging another hole for myself to tumble into. But,
I mean, if that's the way it's got to be, you just got to make sure to take care of yourself throughout it.
There you go. Yeah. And you?
I've got, we just finished The Rite of Spring, and we've been greenlit for a third book. And I can't speak to exactly what it's going to be for spoiler reasons, but yes, it's the third continuation of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Very good.
Very good. And then also I'm writing Archie in Hell for the new Archie reboot that's happening with Oni.
Fantastic.
And it's like still more horror. I don't want to just do horror, but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's fun because you can kind of be experimental in all the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
And it's well received as long as you're like telling that horror story.
It's a nice place to pitch your proverbial tent.
I've been there creatively since pretty much since like 2007 or something, 2008. Like most of the stuff I've done is all horror.
Right.
And it's just been very, satisfying. But I feel like I also would love to do I would have loved to do other stuff, and I do other. Like Free for All was definitely not horror, is more of an action thing. Or, and then I did the issue of Ha Ha for W. Maxwell Prince, and that was very much just a surreal sort of storytelling of a clown that gets sucked into his balloon that he did at a children's birthday party. It has this existential like examination of his failed life. And Prince had written that whole thing for me, and he basically gave me like a layup of like, it's all the stuff I love to see you draw. I was like, I love to draw all this stuff. This is gonna be great.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
And so but I do love that as well. That sort of surreal. I'm very much like driven by just kind of a whatever, like a anything goes sort of mentality with stuff. It's just kind of whatever the story needs to be.
Intuition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not instinct, but intuition.
Yes. Yeah. And again, like I said, I hope I get to keep doing this for as long as they'll have me.
There you go. Right now, I know. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to what you do next. Like,
likewise.
Like More Weight is seriously like it's one of the best books I've read in a huge long time. Like it's so
kind of
it's like intimidatingly good.
Oh, thank you.
And it's like, and just the size of it is just like astounding. Like it's so like the fact that it's so well done from start to finish is like a testament to like how great you are at your craft, man.
Thank you so much. Coming from you, that means a lot. It's been such a thrill to see the world that you've created evolve over time and grow. And I can't wait to finish Rite of Spring, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
I appreciate that.
And congratulations, by the way, for last night. Has it sunk in yet? Are you still reeling?
I'm still sort of like dealing with it. It's so funny though, because you were like, "Oh, was it 1 year?" Yeah. Like, I remember that.
I remember my first year. It's 2017.
No. It's not. Yeah, I'm still sort of. I'm still kind of sinking in. But I'm happy to be taking a break.
That's very good. Yeah, you need to. Yeah, ultimately, we have to take care of ourselves.
We have to take care of ourselves. That was, as creators, like you really need to. You really need to watch out for your body and your brain, and like
your emotional, especially doing stuff like that. Yeah. When I had my first phone call with Lee Walton, my editor, I was like, "Oh, hi Lee, great to meet you." And he goes, "You're bubbly." He goes, "I didn't expect you. I just read more weight. I'm devastated."
Yeah,
and I'm surprised you still have a soul after doing that book. I was like, well, I listen to comedy while I do horrible things. That's how I cope. Well, this was. I think we've got the podcast onto a good start.
I feel like it. This was a really fun conversation.
I don't think it's gonna. I defy the next people to do as good as we. I think we've set the bar, and and I hope we can do this again.
Yeah.
Next time we've got something.
Oh, that would be lovely.
That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And I'll have different glasses to show that time has passed. Me
as well.
Yeah.
Different haircuts. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I'll be a little more gray. This will be wonderful.
Yeah, right. Very good. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you. I really
and
appreciate
thank you, IDW.
Yes, thank you, IDW.
Our marvelous hosts.
Thank you for letting us put books in the world.
Yes, please. Keep helping us out.
Hi. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did. If you want to explore more from these creators, go to your local comic shop or go to our website at idwpublishing.com.